Good afternoon and welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. In the headlines, Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament calls for integration of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger into the regional body. Labour unions reject federal government's plan to sell stakes in joint ventures. Canadian University uses AI bots to support student learning. And Jose Caballero's walk-off single propels Yankees into postseason. Details in a moment.
Abuja, stand up, cause Shalimar's coming to town.
We are Shalimar. We will be performing all of our hit songs at our show at the International Conference Center in Abuja on October 4th.
Powered by Classic FM, the station that plays every song you know.
Make that move right now, baby.
Tickets are also available online at www.tix.africa/Shalimar. So make that move and celebrate this year's Independence Day like never before. 4th of October at the International Conference Center with Shalimar. Because we'll be jamming over and over again.
The need for the full reintegration of some ECOWAS member states, including Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, was highlighted at the ongoing 2025 Parliamentary Seminar of the Economic Community of West African States. The Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Hadja Memonato Ibrahima, who made the call, stressed the need for dialogue to address the resentment expressed by the member states.
The second 2025 extraordinary section of ECOWAS Parliament is ongoing in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, and will be on for 7 days. The seminar, which brought together lawmakers, experts, and stakeholders, aims to explore the potential of artificial intelligence in enhancing parliamentary efficiency and driving development in the region. In her opening statement, the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Hadja Memunatu Ibrahima, encouraged dialogue and hoped for the full reintegration of ECOWAS member states that have expressed resentments, particularly Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Ibrahima acknowledged the complex regional context marked by multidimensional challenges such as insecurity, terrorism, climate disruption, and economic fragility. She emphasized the need for accelerated integration to address the challenges and promote regional development. In his goodwill message, the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, represented by the Deputy Governor of the state, Professor Ngozi Ordu, noted that the theme of the seminar is particularly relevant in the rapidly evolving technological landscape. The governor emphasized that the seminar represents a collective recognition of the transformative power of AI and the need for democratic institutions to adapt to its exponential advancement.
Harnessing artificial intelligence for parliamentary efficiency should be domesticated to accommodate our traditional governance structures with emerging digital ecosystems. The AI for governance that works in one country may not necessarily work in another country unless it is domesticated to take care of some differences. Your deliberations over the coming days will likely influence how African parliamentarians navigate the delicate balance between embracing AI's transformative potential and preserving the human-centered values that anchor democratic governance.
First Deputy Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament and leader of the Nigerian delegation, Senator Barau Jibrin, in his welcome address reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to the work of the ECOWAS Parliament and assured the body of continuous support in fulfilling its mandate. He highlighted Nigeria's pivotal role in the life of ECOWAS, citing its consistent provision of leadership, resources, and solidarity to advance regional integration, peace, and prosperity. He noted the ethical, legal, and societal challenges posed by AI, urging participants to approach the seminar with seriousness and intellectual rigor.
Artificial intelligence is no longer a futuristic aspiration. It is a present reality, reshaping governance, economies, and societies worldwide. For us, legislators entrusted with the sacred duty of representation, lawmaking, and oversight. AI presents opportunities to enhance efficiency, strengthen accountability, and promote development.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Yusuf Maitama Tuga, represented by Permanent Secretary Dunoma Ahmed, expressed commitment to harnessing artificial intelligence for regional development and parliamentary efficiency. He noted that AI has evolved from a distant possibility to a present reality, influencing nearly every sector from education and health to commerce and government.
We must not only remain vigilant, but also proactive in addressing the ethical, security, and socio-economic implications of these technologies, particularly in a region still grappling with issues of digital divide, unemployment, and cyber threats. Nigeria remains committed to supporting regional efforts aimed at harnessing emerging technologies for inclusive development. Our national AI strategy, launched earlier this year, outlines key features such as education, data governance, and inclusive innovation, and is designed to create a balanced framework for safeguarding human rights, data privacy and sovereignty, as well as national security.
Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the University of Port Harcourt Governing Council and a former member of the ECOWAS Parliament, Mao Obabunwa, emphasized the timeliness of the seminar in highlighting the potential of AI to enhance research, streamline processes, improve oversight, and deepen citizen engagement. However, he cautioned against the misuse of AI and stressed the need to protect data sovereignty and ensure that AI strengthens democracy rather than undermine it. As deliberations continue at the seminar, participants remain optimistic that renewed dialogue and innovative solutions like artificial intelligence will strengthen democratic governance and foster unity across the ECOWAS sub-region.
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has officially resumed her duties at the National Assembly after a 6-month suspension. The Kogi Central lawmaker walked back into the Senate on Tuesday amid cheers from supporters waving banners and chanting songs of solidarity. This came shortly after Senate authorities reopened her previously sealed office. Speaking to reporters after reclaiming her seat, the senator declared that she has no apology to render. She described her return as a triumph for democratic principles and stood firm on her conduct during the incident that led to her suspension.
We can't cow down in the face of injustice. No one is more Nigerian than us. Senator Fabio is not more of a senator than I am. He's not a governor of this place. And he treated me as if I was his servant or I was a domestic staff in his house. It's very unfortunate that at this time, after so many years of democracy, we would have a National Assembly be run by such dictatorship. It's totally unacceptable. As for me, I'm glad to be here, and even though we have been illegally suspended, no day have I hesitated in effectively carrying out my duties as a senator of Kogi Central to the very best of my capacity.
Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended in March following a heated clash with Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who accused her of unparliamentary conduct. Her comeback marks a significant moment of reconciliation and a statement on upholding democracy within the Senate. Nigeria's House of Representatives has taken a significant step towards constitutional reform with a public hearing in Abuja. The House took a stand on some issues, including 87 amendments and 13 reforms in the proposed constitution review. Correspondent Chimezie Nzedimma was at the forum convened to shape Nigeria's future.
The national public hearing was attended by lawmakers, civil society groups, diplomats, and traditional leaders. The Committee on Constitution Review presented 87 amendment bills, drawn from months of nationwide consultations. The reforms target some of the country's most pressing challenges, from insecurity to exclusion in governance, placing citizens at the center of the process.
We do this to remove every excuse of not being heard, to ensure, in good faith, that the final product of this exercise belongs not to the parliament, but is accepted by all citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The ultimate authority for this process does not reside in the executive or the legislature alone. It resides with you, the sovereign people of Nigeria. Your voices, your memoranda, and your passionate argument have brought us to this point, and your continued engagement is crucial to see this through.
Representing the President, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, tied the reform process to the Renewed Hope agenda.
The ongoing process of each amendment provides us with yet another golden opportunity to strengthen our institutions, deepen federalism, guarantee fundamental rights, and promote justice, equity, and accountability across all spheres of national life. The process you are undertaking today is therefore not only about amending legal provisions, it is about giving Nigerians renewed confidence that their voices matter in shaping the future of our democracy.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin stressed timelines and inclusivity, promising that the bills would be voted on and transmitted to the state assemblies without delay.
And Nigerians deserve clarity and closure. By acting decisively, we give states enough time to debate, to deliberate, and endorse the people's will without the pressure of electoral calendars or political distractions. The reserved seats for women proposal will create additional seats in the National Assembly and state assemblies to ensure that every state and senatorial district has women's voice in lawmaking.
From proposals for state creation and community police to guarantee local government autonomy and gender-balanced parliaments, the stakes in this review are high. The lawmakers sounded optimistic that the current efforts at constitutional review would not be repeated waste of public funds. But the bigger question remains if these reforms will survive the long road through state assemblies and political interest pushback. In Abuja, I am Chimize Zedima for Signature TV.
Two new state creation movements are making headlines in Nigeria's ongoing constitutional review. From the south-south to the north-central, the push for Obolo and Kainji states sparked sharp debates, one fueled by allegations of marginalization, and the other by promises of economic viability. Correspondent Chimezie Nzedima also has the report.
At the National Public Hearing on Constitution Review in Abuja on Monday, advocates of state creation made compelling case for adding additional states to the present 36. For the Obolo state creation movement, comprising Orun, Ibeno, and Obolo people of Akwa Ibom State alongside Adoni communities in Rivers, their demand is framed as a constitutional right rooted in justice, equity, and cultural unity. But controversy is trailing their demand after Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umo Eno reportedly vowed to sabotage any move to create a state from his area of authority. The Obolo State Creation Movement has described the governor's position as insensitive and an abuse of public office.
The Obolo State demand is not an act of rebellion, but a legitimate and constitutional call for justice by the Orun, Ibeno, and Obolo people of Akwa Ibom State, in unison with their Andoni brothers and sisters in Rivers State. The movement is driven by a desire for an administrative convenience, equitable development, and cultural unity, not antagonism against any person or government.
From the North Central came another strong pitch. Leaders from Borgo, Kotangora, and Zuru Emirates submitted detailed plans for their creation of Kanji State, carved from Niger and Kebbi. Their arguments rest on numbers. Over 3.4 million people, a landmass larger than many existing states, and critical infrastructure like hydroelectric power stations. Advocates also say the states would enhance security in under-governed spaces plagued by banditry.
We want the error committed by the National Assembly to be corrected. We are agitating the creation of this state to be situated in North Central state, North Central geopolitical zone, not Northwest, because two emirates from Niger State with one emirate from Kebbi State. Therefore, the proper location of the state, when created, is north central, not northwest. So I hope that will be done. For a very long time, since the advent of colonialism, the people that comprise these three emirates were brought together since 1902. And not only that, even though subsequent administrative structures in Nigeria affected them, but still they believe it is time for them to come together. And we have two major electricity, hydroelectricity dams. We have the Kainji, we have the Zungeru dams. So in terms of whatever criteria, we deserve this state.
With over 36 proposals for state creation before the National Assembly, Obolo and Kanji are just two of many voices demanding recognition. The big question is whether these aspirations will survive the long legislative road or fade like past agitations into history. In Abuja, I am Chimize Zadima for Signature TV.
President Bola Tinubu has called on African countries to begin to finance its mineral sector and assert their influence and power in the global supply chains. President Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, made the call at a high-level roundtable on critical minerals development in Africa, held on the sideline of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, New York City. The president said it has become necessary for African nations to take collective action along with their allies and partners to bring Africa's mineral economy to reality for the benefit of the continent. He said that Africa should never again wait for capital to trickle in, noting that with sovereign funds, blended vehicles, and innovation tools like the Africa Mineral Token, Africa should be able to provide the finance needed for its growth. The president commended Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, who chairs the event, and the Secretary General, Moses Ngadu of Uganda, for guiding Africa towards a path of productivity and pride. The United Nations Assistant Secretary General and Regional Director, Africa UNDP, Ahunna Eziakonwa, urged African leaders to guard against the extreme exploitation of African resources, which are being extracted without appropriate value. She also emphasized the need for leaders on the continent to ensure partnership that delivers technology, transfer, and creates jobs. European Union Commissioner for International Partnership, Joseph Steckler, said European Union had in the last few years structured its approach to boost and secure its supply of critical raw materials. Former Minister of Sports Solomon Dalong has accused the government of giving terrorists celebrity treatment at peace meetings while leaving ordinary Nigerians defenseless against attacks. In a post on his Facebook page on Wednesday titled, "Beyond State Police, the Urgent Case for Citizens' Rights to Bear Arms," Dalong said Nigeria's centralized security system had collapsed, exposing citizens to bandits, terrorists, and violent criminals armed with sophisticated weapons. He argued that while criminals openly flaunt weapons at government-sponsored peace meetings in the presence of security agencies, ordinary citizens face arrest and prosecution for keeping even basic tools for self-defense. The former minister called for a comprehensive constitutional amendment to allow for the creation of state, local government, and community police, as well as the recognition of citizens' rights to legally bear arms for self-defense, stressing that Nigeria must adopt a layered policing structure similar to that of the United States to enhance security and restore public trust. The Anambra State Police Command has restated its commitment to protecting the rights and dignity of all residents, warning against the enforcement of caste-based discrimination such as the Osu practice. The police public relations officer, Tochukwu Ikenga, who issued the warning on Wednesday, emphasized that denying individuals of their rights on account of caste amounts to a gross violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, as well as extant anti-discrimination laws. Ikenga, who noted that no citizen shall be subjected to any form of discrimination on the basis of community, ethnic group, place of origin, sex, religion, or circumstance of birth, stressed that Nigeria is governed by the rule of law, not oppressive traditions. He warned that anyone found culpable of enforcing caste-based discrimination would face the full weight of the law. The Osu caste system is an age-long practice among some Igbo communities, where individuals designated as Osu are considered outcasts, historically dedicated to deities and thereby regarded as socially inferior. Those labeled as Osu have traditionally faced stigma, exclusion from communal leadership roles, and in extreme cases, rejection in marriage alliances with the so-called freeborn or Wadiala. Though widely condemned by rights groups, religious bodies, and modern Igbo leaders, remnants of the practice still persist in some communities, manifesting in marital restrictions, ostracism, and subtle social segregation. Up ahead, Katsina Assembly urges government to ban school graduation parties. Residents and motorists lament the deplorable state of Opobo Road in Aba. Details of these and more after the break.
Abuja, stand up, cause Shalimar's coming to town.
We are Shalimar. We will be performing all of our hit songs at our show at the International Conference Center in Abuja on October 4th.
Powered by Classic FM, the station that plays every song you know.
Tickets are also available online at www.tix.africa/Shalimar. So make that move and celebrate this year's Independence Day like never before. 4th of October at the International Conference Center with Shalimar, because we'll be jamming over and over again.
The Katsina State House of Assembly has urged the state government to ban graduation celebrations in schools, citing concerns over security and the promotion of social vices. The decision was reached during plenary on Tuesday, presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Abdul-Jan Runka, representing Zango constituency, who noted that such gatherings often create disorder. Aliyu Abubakar Al-Baba of Katsina constituency also highlighted the rising problem of phone snatching, urging the government to take immediate action to curb the menace. The House unanimously adopted the motions and directed the clerk to transmit the resolutions to the executive arm for necessary action. The Assembly also called for the dismissal of Permanent Member 1 of the State Universal Basic Education Board, following an alleged public remark deemed offensive to the legislature. A former PDP governorship aspirant in Imo State, Chidi Ofebu, has urged Igbo people to unite and strategically plan for the presidency of the country. Ofebu, who featured on the breakfast show on Signature TV, noted that the clamor for the country's #1 position will not bear any fruit without adequate preparation. He also advised the Abuja-based politicians to unite with those he referred to as homeland politicians and eschew division and ego and work towards a common interest.
When you talk about Abuja and homeland, you are talking about the politicians in Abuja and the politicians in the East. Sometimes, like during Obasanjo's regime, the ones in Abuja and in the East, they were not agreeing. And the best thing that can happen to the Igbo race is at the Abuja politicians and the homeland coming together, because a tree cannot make a forest. So the Abuja politicians, there's this ego in them that we are in Abuja, we control. Then there is this thought about the homeland. We are on ground. Without us, you will win an election. So they need to come together. There need to be a synergy that will bring them together, because it is all about Igbo agenda. If these people can come together as a body, I tell you, many things will begin to work in the positive direction of it. But because there is this ego, there is this pride, it's denying so many things. We are not getting what we're supposed to get, because those people who will speak for the masses in Abuja is seeing the homeland as the local ones. And the local ones is praying for their downfall. because they are neglecting them. But a situation where they can come together, I tell you, so many things will take place.
Ofebu observed that the Igbo are not adequately carried along in national politics, as reflected in the positions allotted to them. He called for the development of seaports and cargo airports in the southeast to enhance trade and commerce and boost the national economy.
We are business people. 80% of Igbos are businessmen. What we need is seaport. After the war, it's over 50 years now, and you cannot come to Igbo land, you say we have a very good functioning international airport. It's still making us feel that after the war, things has not been properly shaped so that we can be well integrated in the national issue. Now, you will find out when you go to Apapa Wharf, you understand that Igbos are controlling the product that comes in. And in Igbo land, we don't have a seaport. So it makes an average Igbo man feel that probably the nation is still looking at us that the war has not ended. It has ended, but it is still, they are still operating in a way that these people, let us not give them space. If we give them space, they will control us. So it is, the Biafra is still on secretly. Because if it is not on, my sister, what stops federal government to give us international airport? What stops them to give us seaport? Now, an average Igbo man travels to UK, travels to US. We don't have any functional embassy that is in the southeast.
He also called for more inclusion of women in politics, saying they have a lot to contribute to national development. Ofebu further highlighted the importance of peace and unity of the country by correcting the misinformation that has fueled division among ethnic groups. The Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, has sworn in 2 new commissioners and a special advisor with a charge on them to bring fresh energy, commitment, and integrity to the service of the state. The new appointees are Dr. Salome Obiukwu, who now assumes office as Commissioner for Trade and Commerce, Chiemela Uzoije, an architect, who becomes the Commissioner for Housing, and Christian Enweremadu as the Special Advisor to the Governor on Agriculture. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony held at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Umuahia, Governor Oti announced that the former Commissioner for Trade and Commerce, Kingsley Nwokocha, will now serve as the Commissioner for Labor and Productivity. The governor also revealed that the Ministry of Lands and Housing has been split into 2 to improve efficiency, noting that Chaka Chukwumerije now becomes the Commissioner for Lands. He described the appointments as part of his administration's strategy of periodically injecting fresh ideas to enrich the quality and scope of his administration's performance. The governor, who congratulated the trio for scaling through the rigorous nomination and screening process, reminded them of his administration policy of zero tolerance for corruption, warning that the government would not hesitate to sanction those found wanting. Residents and motorists have expressed frustration over the deplorable condition of the Aba-Opobo-Azumini Road in Aba, Abia State. The road, which is a federal road, serves as a link that connects some parts of Akwa Ibom State to Aba, Abia State, have worsened as a result of vehicular activities, constant downpour, and lack of good drainage system over the years. Some motorists who spoke to Signature TV said they could no longer access the road due to its deplorable conditions, as heavy-duty vehicles keep falling and a good number of businesses closing shop due to the dilapidated state of the road.
I applied this road almost on a daily basis, and the road is so discouraging. It's so bad to the extent that even my bike, almost every week, I used to take it to the mechanic. So I visit people, the general find out. Most of them complain on the, like, if rain should fall now, any rain fall, the price will increase. So the price of this road determines the amount of rainfall. If rain fall, they will not apply sometimes from to Aba, which is 500 now, sometimes 1,700, 800, depending the level of the rain. So so we are pleading if the government can just come to our aid, can just visit the road, because the road is giving us, even with the private that doesn't give us a headache. Because me myself, I'm coming from Jubilee now. I'm going to mechanic now because because of this road. So I also get that so other users as well. So many people are also complaining as well.
Now we feel very, very bad, honestly. It is that damage we suffered a lot, especially my memories, like I got to that side. Most of them also that side, and the commerces are crying every day. Due to the transport fare, because they are 500. Sometimes I feel pity for all those commerces. Time what they are passing, it's not our fault.
Now, as I manage to do, my grade is spoiled every time. I do the change. I do the change my degree. I do the change. I do the work orders. It's not. What I think that the government can help us is to come work the roads and do gutter. Because especially the two way road is gutter. If they just do gutter for this road, good road, the road today good.
Travel. Not easy for us.
So, what do you want the government to do?
We need government to work this road so that we can have a better road for this area.
And they feel bad. Like example, like now, if you get 50K for this road, you go add 30,000 of working of your machine. It's very bad. But our government is trying, but let's try more. Not to slow down, not to be the road. Like that, now the only thing we need.
Thank you.
A professor and researcher of interactive arts and technology at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, British Columbia, Steve DiPaola, was on stage with a fully interactive talking AI during class. The expressive AI bot called Kia aims to engage in real-time discussions, debate complex topics, and explore questions alongside her creator, Steve DiPaola.
So here in my research lab, we use these bots for a number of AI for social good, and they don't always have to be humans. We've done things like animals, like educating people on how whales move and things like that. So the notion of bringing that into this intro class is both a performative notion that is just fun to talk to it, but it's also a way for the class to see a very high-end system and deal with it can be a crutch to use, and we haven't figured out a way to grade people, so to speak, or tell them what they can and cannot do. So you have some teachers saying, no, you can only do it on paper and you can't use an AI at all, which is not training people for the future, versus this other way of teaching students how to use it correctly at the right level. And we really are struggling within this world in general, where we're letting these computer scientists do all the AI stuff, and then sometimes the ethicists are way over somewhere else, not being practical. And here at SFU, we're very good about putting that together. In some ways, that's what the class is about. We have a little bit of everybody in our class really thinking through this.
He designed the visualization of the bot as a British black woman and refers to her with she and her pronouns. DiPaola has helped design the other AI bots for use in other SFU departments, including the School of Environmental Science and School of Medicine, and sees the potential for its greater good within the higher education sphere. DiPaola cautions against widely accepting what information AI provides to humans as completely accurate, and understand the ethics of AI usage can be complicated. He told newsmen that SFU has embraced an interdisciplinary approach to developing AI at the university, pulling ethicists into the conversation with computer scientists, and hopes that other technologists will aim to make AI open source and more accessible to everyone. As the course continues through the rest of the year and beyond, Kia's knowledge will grow, and she will continue to assist DiPaola and his class in understanding the future of artificial intelligence. When Greek firefighters investigated the cause of a deadly wildfire near the Athens Riviera in August, they found a familiar culprit, a loose power cable whose sparks were blown across a field of dry grass in a windstorm. The investigators' report said the cable near the town of Keratia showed signs of oxidation and improper maintenance. Within hours, the blaze had killed one person and burned 4,000 acres, 16 square kilometers of land, Abutin tourist beach south of the capital.
It was very fast. Before I got out the door to douse the adjacent plot with water, it had already burned the grass there. The fire had already gone. We did not catch it. It went to the other side and started going up the mountain. The firefighters managed to catch some of it. A newly built house was burned. Thank God we survived.
We are condemned every year to live through the same story. Municipal and regional officials and the fire brigade may have taken all the measures, only to find that a fire has started in a specific and accessible spot which can't deal with. People's lives are endangered, the environment is destroyed, property is destroyed, and we don't have the power to keep starting from square one again every time, and to put the citizens through this ordeal.
China's Hong Kong and Macau special administrative regions raised typhoon signals to their highest levels early on Wednesday as Super Typhoon Ragasa approached the Pearl River Delta, triggering widespread transport suspensions, school closures, and emergency operations. The Hong Kong Observatory hoisted the hurricane signal number 10 at 2:40 Wednesday, indicating sustained winds of at least 118 kilometers per hour, with gusts exceeding 220 kilometers per hour. Macau's Geophysical and Meteorological Bureau followed suit at 5:30 Wednesday, issuing its highest warning, the number 10 signal. Typhoon Ragasa, which earlier prompted number 8 warnings on Tuesday afternoon, brought torrential rain and fierce winds to both regions, is expected to pass within 10 kilometers south of Hong Kong during Wednesday morning. Authorities have warned of severe storm surges comparable to 2017's Hato and 2018's Mangkhut. Hong Kong's MTR has suspended all outdoor rail services, with underground sections operating minimally. All bus and tram services have also been suspended. High-speed rail services between West Kowloon and mainland stations have been called off through Wednesday. In Macau, all sea crossings and 4 cross-sea bridges, including the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, were closed by late Tuesday. Public departments also suspended their operations. U.S. President Donald Trump and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Guterres asked the presidents for help in solving conflicts around the world.
We've done this before, and this was a little more exciting because of the escalator and the teleprompter, but these things happen. But I will tell you that your people have treated us with great respect. Our country is behind the United Nations 100%. I think the potential of the United Nations is incredible, really incredible. It can do so much, so I'm behind it. I may disagree with it sometimes, but I am so behind it because I think that the potential for peace in this institution is so great. So I just want to thank you for treating us so well.
A large crowd of protesters rallied near the United Nations headquarters in New York, voicing support for Palestine and demanding an immediate end to what they described as Israel's genocidal campaign in the Gaza Strip. The demonstration coincided with the opening of the general debate at the 80th UN General Assembly, amplifying calls for global accountability. 5 more European countries, including France, announced their recognition of the State of Palestine during a high-level session of the 80th United Nations General Assembly on Monday. Ahead of the UN high-level gathering, Britain and Portugal, along with Australia and Canada, recognized Palestine on Sunday. Some protesters called for these countries to take real action, saying that recognition without action to stop the genocide means nothing.
I would say that recognizing the Palestinian state right now without actually taking real action to stop the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people is just symbolic. It's hypocritical. It means nothing.
I'm just here to help show the world that the world stands with Palestine and we don't stand for genocide. We still send drone strikes and do murders and killings. And so basically everything that Israel is doing, the United States also is doing in the past and currently.
Italy will only recognize a Palestinian state if all Israeli hostages are released and the Hamas militant group is excluded from any government role, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said on Tuesday. Speaking from New York, where she is attending the United Nations General Assembly, Meloni also said international pressure should be placed on Hamas rather than Israel, blaming the group for starting the war and blocking its end by refusing to hand over hostages. Meloni leads a right-wing government that has been one of Israel's strongest allies in the European Union and has refused to allow other G7 nations like Britain, Canada, and France in recognizing Palestinian statehood this month. Meanwhile, the Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan called on Tuesday for other countries to recognize a Palestinian state after a dozen countries did or were about to do during the United Nations General Assembly. He also called for a ceasefire as soon as possible in Gaza, adding that those responsible for the genocide in Gaza must be held accountable under international law. He said more than 65,000 civilians had been killed in Gaza since October 7, 2023. Also, Hamas's attack on that date was being used as a pretense for mass murder there.
I thank all countries that have announced their recognition of the State of Palestine. I call on those states that have not yet taken this decision to take immediate action. In particular, genocide in Gaza has been going on before our eyes for over 700 days. Even as we are in this meeting, civilians are being massacred in Gaza. The number of civilians killed in Gaza has exceeded 65,000. There is no war in Gaza. There are no two sides in Gaza. On one side in Gaza is the regular army, armed with the most modern and lethal weapons, and on the other, there are innocent civilians, innocent children. This is not a fight against terrorism. This is a policy of occupation, deportation, exile, genocide, indeed, a policy of mass murder, all carried out by using the October 7th incident as an excuse. A ceasefire in Gaza must be achieved immediately, attacks must cease, and humanitarian aid must certainly be allowed to flow unhindered. We must ensure that the genocide crew is held accountable under international law. God willing, this will undoubtedly happen.
UN nuclear watchdog Chief Rafael Grossi said on Tuesday a team of inspectors was on its way to Iran should Tehran and European powers reach a deal this week to avert the reimposition of international sanctions. Iran and European powers met earlier on Tuesday, agreeing to continue talks to strike a last-ditch deal to avert the so-called snapback. Those talks center on European demands that Iran should access for UN nuclear inspectors to its most sensitive nuclear facilities, addresses concerns about its stock of enriched uranium, and engages in talks with the United States. With the reimposition of sanctions set for Saturday evening, time is running out, but Grossi said there were still intense conversations between him, Iran, European powers, and the United Nations to find a solution. Grossi agreed technical measures with Iran in Cairo earlier this month that would pave the way for the resumption of IAEA inspectors at sites, including those bombed by the US and Israel in June. But with scant detail and no time frame, they have come under fire, giving the urgency ahead of snapback. Grossi acknowledged that the European powers wanted to see how those measures could fit into the current decisions, given they needed to see immediate tangible progress between the IAEA and Iran. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei rejected negotiations with the United States over its nuclear works during a televised speech on Tuesday, and said negotiations with the United States would not serve Tehran's interests and would prove a dead end. In a recorded message, Khamenei also said Iran would not surrender to pressure regarding uranium enrichment, and he reiterated Tehran's long-standing official position that it does not need nuclear weapons and has no intention of producing them. Khamenei's statement comes as Iran and European powers agreed to continue talks about Tehran's disputed nuclear program. Iranian Foreign Ministry said on Tuesday, after a meeting, to try to strike a last-ditch deal to avert the imposition of UN sanctions. US President Donald Trump said during his address to the UN General Assembly on Tuesday that Iran could never be allowed to possess nuclear weapons. Germany is facing its most challenging times in recent history and requires true reforms to fund its welfare system and boost its industry, Chancellor Friedrich Merz said on Wednesday. Merz added that German business leaders are deeply worried about the future. Merz said he was in conversation with various business sectors and workers' unions, adding that the auto, steel, and chemical sectors must remain key industries in the country. Merz's address to the German parliament on the budget came as a survey showed that German business morale had unexpectedly declined in September as the economic outlook remained weak. The IFO Institute said its business climate index decreased to 87.7 in September, from a revised 88.9 in August. Analysts polled by Reuters had forecast a reading of 89.3. Companies were less satisfied with their current business, and expectations also darkened noticeably as hopes for an economy recovery suffered a setback. Germany has struggled to regain momentum this year, with the economy contracting by 0.3% in the second quarter, compared with the first 3 months of the year, as U.S. demand slowed following months of buying ahead in anticipation of U.S. President Donald Trump's new tariffs. The IFO index declined across all sectors, with the exception of the construction industry, the data showed. Merz also made a veiled dig at the United States, saying Germany should not be like certain countries once thought of as great democracies, but move away from hate speech and division. And that's the news this hour. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. Thanks for watching.